Paul, have to pull away from you. Big breaking news coming in. The CBI has arrested the former Air Chief SP Tyagi, arrested Julie Tyagi and GAUTAM KHAITAN in the AGUSTA Westland case. All three have been arrested from Delhi. Shawan Sen joins us with the details. Yes, Shawan.
Well, that's the big news now coming in, a final confirmation from the Central Bureau of Investigation that 3 arrests essentially being made in the AGUSTA Westland case. The big one certainly being the former Indian Air Force Chief SP Tyagi. Along with it, we are also being given to understand that Julie Tyagi, that's SP Tyagi's relative, and GAUTAM KHAITAN, these are the 3 people who have been arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation. Remember, in this entire thing, the allegation being that he had met senior officials of the Finmeccanica, and that is basically the parent company of AGUSTA Westland, and while negotiations for the purchase of the VVIP choppers, and he had told the CBI that he had met the chief operating officer of Finmeccanica in Delhi on February 2005. Now, these are some of the basic allegations that were basically leveled against SP Tyagi. And Tyagi at that point in time was over 1 month into his tenure as the Air Chief Marshal, and specifications for the purchase of the VVIP choppers had not been changed then. So these are essentially the big allegations that were leveled against the former Indian Air Force Chief, Mr. Tyagi, and the very fact that if you have even Julie Tyagi as well, that's his relative, Tyagi, was the very fact that he was also part of the negotiations. Certainly a very big development now coming in with the CBI making these arrests. What I'm also given to understand is the fact that he was arrested from Delhi itself.
Well, what is the reason that the arrest has been made now, Shawan? Because this was an admission that was made sometime in May 2016, where he did admit to meeting the COO. What is the reason why the CBI has moved in to arrest the 3 now? Do they have conclusive proof of their involvement and the allegations against them, Shawan?
Well, certainly, as far as his level of involvement is concerned, Anand, it's important to note that the Central Bureau of Investigation would only further move in only after having some sort of a concrete evidence against SP Tyagi, as well as the other 2 who have been already arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation. At this point in time, we still do not have the exact details as to what exactly, on what basis have they been arrested. Right. But remember, the very fact that the allegations remains the same, because remember, Tyagi was basically aware of the change in specifications of the helicopter. The specifications as far as that VVIP chopper was at the lowering of the height ceiling, and it is said to have basically passed on that knowledge through his cousins, that is Julie Tyagi, who's also been arrested via middlemen.
Shawan, I've got Shinjoy also with us, our National Affairs editor. Shinjoy, big development this, and this comes many months after the admission by SP Tyagi. What is it that the CBI has now that they've moved in to arrest the 3 from Delhi?
Well, very clearly, the Italian court had already spoken about SP Tyagi. And at that point, the Indian courts and the Indian establishment, the Indian system, had said very clearly that it's our investigation and we will see where we go. Now, clearly, at this point, the CBI has arrested him. What we have heard is that there is enough evidence against Air Chief Marshal SP Tyagi about the reduction of the ceiling height of the AGUSTA Westland choppers. The Italian court's judgment had extensively referred to the former IAF chief, SP Tyagi. At that point, SP Tyagi had said, well, the decision had not taken in his time and so on and so forth. But very clearly, we also know that his cousins were involved in the deal, and that actually pointed the finger of suspicion towards Air Chief Marshal Tyagi. Now, of course, the CBI has arrested him. Now, once an arrest has been made, clearly an organization as the CBI, which is arresting a former air chief, a chief of air staff, it is very, very clear there has to be enough evidence with the CBI. This investigation has been going on for a very long time, and a lot of people have been named, but this is the first big arrest that has been made. No politician has been arrested so far. No other person has been from the armed forces or government has been arrested so far. At the moment, it is Air Chief Marshal SP Tyagi, the former Air Chief, 4 allegedly being involved in the reduction of the ceiling height of the Augusta choppers, leading to payoffs.
Right. Shinjoy, Shaban, please stay with me on the phone. Maruf Raza, strategic affairs expert, also with us and consulting editor with us on the phone. Maruf, this is big. The first big arrest, and it's a non-political arrest. It's a former air chief who's been arrested along with one of his family members, Julie Tyagi, and also GAUTAM KHAITAN.
Yes, clearly, this is very unusual. This is probably the first time in independent India's history that a service chief has been formally arrested for allegations of financial misappropriation in a aviation-related deal or defense-related deal. However, and I know the CBI is using with considerable evidence and with sensible caution. However, I would like to say two or three things. One is that this is not the end of the road. This is going to lead to clues to several other people who are involved. Please understand that any misappropriation in any defense deal does not just involve the service people and their friends or families. This has to have a certain amount of involvement or approval by the bureaucracy and the political leadership of that given time. They cannot absolve themselves of responsibility completely. The second thing to understand is that AGUSTA-Westland deal was specifically done not for the Air Force, but for the SPG's requirement of providing VVIP choppers to the Prime Minister and his entourage. So therefore, the specifications, though may have been cleared by the Air Chief, the specifications would have had a certain amount of involvement of the police and the SPG elements, who will probably also face flack in due course of time. So therefore, I would say this is not the end of the story. This is a major event, but we cannot expect closure with this itself.
Right, but Maruf, like you said, this is not the end of the story. Do you also believe that if the CBI has moved to arrest a former service chief and his brother and also GAUTAM KHAITAN, they would have beyond conclusive proof, because they have to be doubly sure of what they are doing, and that's why perhaps from May to now in December they have taken their time?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, CBI is one of the agencies in this country who, across the board, people have considerable faith in its ability to deliver on allegations. They, at the end of the day, when there is a certain degree of high-handedness that somebody faces, whether it's politicians or otherwise, they ask for a CBI inquiry, and the CBI inquiry more or less settles the matter, as been the case in many other cases in the past. However, you know, we must understand that what this is indicating also is that there is a desire on the part of this current government to move and resolve issues which were toing and froing in the past. Very clearly, we have a very decisive defense minister. Very clearly, we have defense deals that have to go through. The fallout effect of this would be, apart from a certain degree of caution amongst decision makers, we might see the blacklisting of affiliate organizations which are under the umbrella of the parent company that owns AGUSTA-Westland. We should not let that happen in the interest of national security, because, as you know, just 2 or 3 days ago, the Air Force and the Army have virtually declared the entire helicopter fleet of the armed forces as unusable, which has been found for 3 decades. And there is a demand for 180 helicopters that have to be bought for the services, which might just come from one of the affiliates of the parent company that owns AGUSTA-Westland. So let's not clean everything up with a single brush. Let's go at it on a case-by-case basis.
Right, Maruf, please stay with us on the phone. Shinjoy Chaudhary also with us. Shinjoy, does this also mean that sooner than later, more skeletons will start tumbling out of the closet? Now the arrests have been made. Will there be more arrests? Will there be others who will also come under the ambit? Perhaps even the political overlords at whose behest these deals were signed and the commissions were taken?
Well, that would depend on the evidence available. That would depend on the CBI. Is there enough evidence with the CBI to arrest all those responsible in the political arena? That's not very clear as yet. At the moment, we have heard even independently that there was sufficient evidence against former Air Chief Marshal S.P. Tyagi, and therefore he has been arrested, and this evidence was there for a long time. Now, as you correctly said, if you're going to arrest a former Air Chief Marshal, then very, very clearly you have to be not just sure, but you have to be doubly sure. And that's exactly what has happened. It has to be noted that people like Orsi and Spangolin, who of the CEO and Finmeccanica, have been in prison, were given prison sentences. So very clearly the Italian court has moved ahead. They have done what they had to do. Now it was all just a wait for the CBI report, and the CBI has come
is
up with what
it possible?
it has.
Is it possible? Shinjoy, please stay with me.
Have an arrest
Maruf,
here.
Is it possible that the political leadership was unaware of what was going on? Can that excuse be bought?
No, I don't think the political leadership can absolve itself of responsibility. I mean, you either, when it comes to suit your agenda, you claim all the authority and responsibility. So you also have to take responsibility for the fallout. I mean, you could not have, I mean, at the end of the day, please understand, any defense deal that goes in excess of $200 million, and this deal was in excess of $200 million, has to be approved and signed by the Raksha Mantri. And if the Raksha Mantri has signed this defense deal, then quite clearly he should have done his homework. That's the point I'm trying to make. So therefore, by trying to knock off individuals who are relatively low in the pecking order when a defense deal is made, please understand the service headquarters fix the quantitative requirement and the qualitative requirement, and the service headquarters do the trials and the approvals, but the final receipt and the bill for purchase is signed by the minister himself after the notings have been prepared by the defense secretary. And the defense secretary in this case and in some other cases where there are allegations is right now sitting in a post-retirement tenure where he enjoys a certain amount of immunity. Now the question is the net going to spread as far as him or not? Because it is not just this deal. There were several deals at this period of time which happened under his watch. Please understand that it is the defense minister and the defense secretary under...
Maruf, sorry to interrupt you. I have Brijesh Kalapa of the Congress Party with us on the phone. Brijesh Kalapa, first big arrest. It's a non-political arrest, but it's a former service chief who's been arrested along with his brother and also businessman GAUTAM KHAITAN by the CBI on the Augusta Westland deal.
Yeah, I think it's something which we always expected, and we had a feeling that because of his close connection to the RSS, because as you know, S.P. Tyagi was a member of the Vivekananda International Foundation, which is an RSS-run body. We thought that he would not be arrested, but good that he has been arrested. I hope the entire facts come out, and to the extent of which his deep involvement is made out. Also, in what manner he has helped the organization, the Vivekananda International Foundation. So these things have to come out, and we welcome this.
True, and perhaps also whether or not he was acting at the behest of some political leadership, and if that political leadership was involved in as far as deals which were struck around the same time, multiple deals that were struck around the same time. So were the political overlords and the government of that day, was it in the know, and who else were the beneficiaries? Perhaps that should also come to the fore.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, since he owes allegiance to the RSS and to the Vivekananda International Foundation, I think it's appropriate that these organizations also be investigated and it be found out as to what is the depth of their involvement in this.
So I hope now going forward, irrespective of who the CBI arrests next and whatever their political leanings are, you will not blame the CBI of being partial, because now you have said that they're absolutely impartial irrespective of what allegations you are making in terms of the leanings of Mr. Tyagi, the former Air Chief Marshal.
But why do you ignore the fact
I'm just saying, so we'll take that on record, no, Brijesh, because then you have to be equal on both sides. Then you should not claim vendetta later on in the day. So let's put you on record saying you're saying that we didn't think he will be arrested. Now that he's arrested, we credit and it's kudos to the CBI that they are ready to get to the bottom of it, and we want to get to the bottom of it.
Please of course, why not? Why not? Why should anybody hide away from it?
So we'll mark this day. Brijesh Kalapa, please stay.
Mark it, please double mark it, please triple mark it.
Wonderful. Please stay with me. Please stay with me. Let's get the BJP in, and then you can have the spar in terms of what they have to offer. Siddharth Nath Singh, first big arrest that has happened, and this one, despite what the Congress thought, that will never be arrested. That was what their allegation is, because of his so-called allegiance to certain ideologues and certain groups, that he would never be arrested. And that's what Brijesh Kalapa said. He's been arrested, so we welcome that.
Well, all I can say is, firstly, the Indian central agencies or investigative agencies have capable officers. And as far as the CBI is concerned, which the Supreme Court had said during the Congress regime, the cage parrot, now I would say the parrot is out of the cage. And therefore, we are seeing results happening. The government's policy has been under Modi ji of zero tolerance towards corruption. Therefore, the investigation is being speeded up. The investigation is autonomous. There's no government interference. And like the Congress wishes to give a twist to it of somebody having an ideological attachment to a foundation. So that goes more to the credit of the government, that the government doesn't interfere, unlike what we had seen when it was the Bofors case. We have seen in many other cases during the UPA. But that becomes a political narrative. The issue is this country going to allow their central agencies to function independently? The answer is yes. Is this country going to see zero tolerance towards corruption? The answer is yes. Those who are guilty need to be punished. Their taxpayers' money cannot be laundered. And certainly, when this scam happened, those at the highest level, we have seen the person was at the highest level, but there are higher levels. They need to be found. And the political beneficiaries, the political people who enjoyed this money from the corruption, they need to be named and shamed and arrested as per the law.
In the same breath, Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh, you would also say that tomorrow, if the CBI comes out and says that there was no political connection, or the political connection cannot be established, then the government of the day will also accept that.
Absolutely, we will accept, because we feel we want the investigating agencies to be independent, so that in future they can work independently, and true cases of corruption can be brought to conviction and to a closure.
Well, Siddharth Nath Singh and Brijesh Kalapa, thank you for talking to us. The BJP and the Congress agreeing on the independence of the CBI, coming to one point at least of agreement, irrespective of what is happening as far as debate and discussion in the House is concerned. Thank you for talking to us, gentlemen. Going back to Srinjoy Chaudhary, Major General Ashok Mehta also with us on the phone. Major General Mehta, thank you for your patience. Your reaction to this, sir. How would you read this? It's perhaps the first ever that on charges of and allegations of bribery, on allegations of corruption, that a former service chief has been arrested.
This is a huge development, and it's a big hit for the armed forces that the highest in the Air Force has been charged now, or will be charged, and has been arrested. Now, in the past, I know that officers of the rank of 3 stars and 1 star and 2 stars were arrested, but on charges that they had passed on information relating to weapons and equipment. That is why in the army, at least, they say that the Weapons and Equipment Directorate is the most vulnerable as well as the most sensitive. But as far as Air Chief Marshal Bundles Tyagi is concerned, he has from day one maintained that he is innocent. Now the question is that the case will be fought in court, and we have to see whether Air Chief Marshal Tyagi can come out of this. But the mere fact that the CBI has charged him with the case, I think is a big blow to the image of the armed forces as far as its cleanliness and health is concerned.
Well, Major General Ashok Mehta, a very strong point that you have made. Thank you for talking to us. Former CBI Director Joginder Singh also with us on the phone. Mr. Joginder Singh, if the CBI has gone ahead and arrested a former service chief, they would have enough to fight this and prove this in the court of law, because they will be doubly sure before they do this.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Joginder Singh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you.
Yeah, my question is that the CBI has gone ahead and arrested the former Air Chief SP Tyagi, his brother Sanjeev or Julie Tyagi, and also his aide, businessman GAUTAM KHAITAN, on the AGUSTA WESTLAND deal, charges of bribery and channelizing money or funneling away money from the deal. So if the CBI has gone ahead and made this arrest, they would have to be doubly sure, because they will have to prove this in court.
Certainly. After all, this case, if I remember correctly, there has to be something behind it, and a lot of money was allegedly involved at that time. So this is what was involved at that time. So the fact remains here that a lot of money was involved in this case. So the fact remains here.
Right.
And a lot of money was involved at that time. And truth is out when the case is filed later in a big way. Otherwise, nobody will go and arrest anybody at that time.
Yes.
So this is.
Yes, and it is a big weight on the CBI's shoulders to prove this guilt, because they have gone ahead and made the arrest, so they must be very, very sure. And if they are sure about the former Air Chief and Julie Tyagi and GAUTAM KHAITAN, they perhaps have the trail that leads to the others under whose orders or specifications or with whose knowledge these acts had been performed, or this act of corruption had been enacted. Mr. Joginder Singh, thank you for talking to us. Going across to Shinjoy Chaudhary, joining us live now. Shinjoy, the onus now is on the CBI to take this to the conclusion, because it cannot stop with just these three arrests. Then those who are around in terms of the bureaucracy, the Defense Secretary, will they go till then? Will they go across to the SPG head and the others who are part of this entire exercise of lowering the specification?
Well, the first thing, of course, when the deal was signed, it came to about 3,500 crores. Now, 3,500 crores for 12 helicopters. Are you actually, for all the precautions, precautionary things that were added to the choppers and everything else, it is almost like buying a fighter plane. So very clearly there were questions right then, and they have been proved right after all these years that yes, money changed hands. To answer your question, well, the first point is, are they going to stop with SP Tyagi, or are they going to go forward? It all depends on the CBI. It all depends on the evidence. Are you going to look at the bureaucracy and see if they were involved? certainly the CBI should and probably is doing. Are you going to look at the political establishment and see if there is evidence? Well, the CBI is certainly going through it. What we do know is that there was an enormous amount of time which was spent just for procedural reasons towards the last period of the UPA rule. We know that approximately 2 years was spent, and people just sat on files, they sat on their hands. One file did not go from one part of the government to another part of the government. That went on for months and months and possibly over years. So that's the important thing. This time the CBI actually is an uncaged parrot, as has been mentioned in this program. So if that is so, if you have got SP Tyagi, very good. If you have adequate evidence against him, and you said very rightly that if you're going to arrest a former chief, a former air chief, then you have to be doubly sure. You have to be sure that there is enough evidence against him. Well, that's really a beginning. Right. And now it has to be seen whether there is evidence against anybody else in the politicians, among the politicians, among the bureaucrats. Yes. Well, the CBI will have to answer that.
Yes. Shinjoy, please stay with me live. We'll go across to Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, who's joining us on the phone. Wing Commander Bakshi, this is huge. Because this is unprecedented that a former service chief gets arrested on charges of corruption along with his brother and also a businessman.
That's right. They have taken this step, as we had said earlier only on a channel, that it's very easy because the Augusta Westland people have only had released the name of these people only because they can dispense away with them because they don't want to touch the lobby of politicians and bureaucrats because they want to do more business with them later on. So they will not upset those people, and they're very easy to point a finger at a person. But Air Chief Tyagi, if they can prove that he's taken money, is a different thing because previously they did not know it. But they cannot conjecture. They have to be very serious. And as the commentator has just said, Air Chief Tyagi, as you just said, that Air Chief Tyagi is okay, but what about the other? The money has gone way up. So are we ready to reveal the name of the politicians, the bureaucrats and other people? Until they do that, only your justice will look very lame and very diluted.
No, yes, but Wing Commander Bakshi would also appreciate that if the CBI goes to arrest, has gone ahead and arrested a former service chief on charges of corruption on the Augusta Westland deal. There were a lot of deals that happened with perhaps the same middlemen and under the same kind of leadership at that point in time. So should all those deals also now come under scrutiny, and should all the people who are responsible for striking these deals be now worried because they will all come under scrutiny and no one will be spared? They will not. If they think they have gotten away with it, they haven't gotten away with it.
They have to be. The investigation has to be totally perfect. I mean, you cannot let the people get away with it because it's not only Air Chief Tyagi himself. There'll be a lot of people in uniform and out of uniform in South Block and Ministry. It is going to be a big affair. And until and unless they are ready to beat out everybody out into the open and don't beat about the bush, I mean, that is what is required. Otherwise, it will not be proper. Because as far as I am concerned, and I know fully well, these deals have been going on for years, right from 1947 onwards. Defense deals, we have never come to a conclusive proof till now, and this is probably the first time you will be watching that an air chief at that level, officer of 4-star general officer, is now being brought to books. This is the first time that so many deals have taken place. So right. I presume that the homework has been done properly. Otherwise, Augusta Westland has to give better answers. And we should not point fingers at anybody who's handled the file. Last time when I was with Times Now, there are a number of air marshals' names and other people's names were coming. People are not sure of it. So that should not happen.
Right. Wing Commander Praful Bakshi, thank you for talking to us. Shinjoy, we are approaching the top of 6 p.m, so we'll have to take a very short break. But quickly, one word from you, Shinjoy. Is the government also aware of the weight of responsibility that it carries? Because this could also affect the political narrative. Because at all points in time, what has been maintained is that these deals, especially because this was a VVIP choppers, this was for the politicians. So this deal could not have just the endorsement, and if there has been corruption, it could not have been limited only within the armed forces, within the service chiefs, and also perhaps even within the SPG or somebody else, as is being alleged, the police, as is being alleged. The political overlords were on top of what was being bought.
Well, that's what it looks like. But again, if you have to arrest someone, you have to have the proof. And where is the proof? Maybe the CBI is working on it. Maybe the CBI is gathering evidence vis-a-vis, as you said, the SPG officials. Maybe they are working on evidence regarding bureaucrats and politicians. We have to see it. The one organization that will know exactly how much evidence it has vis-a-vis all the others is the CBI. And now, is this the beginning or is this the end? That is an answer that the CBI will have to give, because they will have to explain why Tyagi has been arrested and why others have not been arrested. And very, very importantly, we will know whether the investigation ends here or is this just the beginning. In any case, it's a huge moment because of form.
Yes, Shinjoy, over time, so I have to interrupt you again there, but what you said is absolutely correct. This looks like just the beginning. What has happened is absolutely unprecedented, and the CBI, the onus is on the CBI now to prove that it's no longer a caged parrot, because the government would want to try and push that political narrative. The onus is on the CBI to complete the investigation and take it to its logical conclusion, because it's been long. It's been very, very long. And this arrest has come after a long, drawn process of investigation and probe. Thanks for the update, Shinjoy. To all our guests, thank you for joining in and with your thoughts. Taking a very, very short break, but we stay on with this big story and the developments around it on the other side on the live report.